Hey everyone, welcome to this week's episode of our podcast, Is Breakfast Included? How you guys doing? Today on the show, I talk with Jennifer Wallace. Jennifer is a Dallas-based artist / graphic designer. We talk a little bit about her history of graphic design through high school, college, and working for D Magazine, and what inspired her to start painting again during 2020's pandemic lockdown. It's worked out really well for her these last 2 years. She has some really cool art. Plus, she designed an album cover for the live Alice Cooper album, Live from the Astroturf, which she didn't even know she was designing. Worked out pretty well for her. We also get into a few other things that she likes, like traveling and cooking. It's a lot of fun, and I hope you enjoy it. Let's check it out.
Sounds good.
You ready?
Yep.
All right. Tell me who you are.
I'm Jennifer Wallace, and I'm an artist, and I live in Dallas, Texas.
Well, where are you from? Are you originally from Dallas?
Yes. I've lived here since '93. I went to high school in East Texas, and then moved to Dallas.
All right. What part of East Texas?
Greenville.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm from Corsicana.
Not too far from here. So.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You're close. Yeah, that's close by.
And do you have any brothers, sisters, stuff like that?
I do. I have a brother. He's younger, and he actually lives in the Hill Country. He actually lives next door to my parents, and they're near Lampasas.
I don't know. You're an artist. I've seen your art. Are there any other artists in your family? Did that come from your family, like growing up with artists?
Not my parents, but both my kids are artists. I've got one that is about to be 22, who's a musician, and he basically got a full scholarship to Loyola in New Orleans. So he's been living down there for about 3 years.
Oh wow, that's. And
then my youngest is 16, and he is in theater, but he's also a visual artist like me. And then their dad plays in a huge band, Reverend Horton Heat. So
oh, okay.
Their dad is a musician too. So everybody, we've got all the arts covered. That's for sure. So.
I may or may not have heard of them.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So this generation of the family is all artists.
Yes, this one is.
When did you start?
Well, I was even in high school, I did art and I did theater. Those were the two big things for me. And then, of course, soccer. And so, of course, this time of year with the World Cup going on, it's kind of exciting for me because that's my sport. But when I was in high school, I started, I was working for the local newspaper in Greenville, and a couple of the guys in the art department were telling me about these programs called, Photoshop. At that time, it was Illustrator and Photoshop, and then Cork Express for laying out. And it was all self-taught. So when I went to SMU, I was working for the newspaper there. And then I suddenly got a job at D Magazine. And I've been in graphic design and illustration for a long time. So, I guess about 27 years now. Okay. But the painting, that is something I did early on in the early 90s in college, but I hadn't picked it back up until we were in lockdown for COVID.
Oh, okay. So just a few years now that you've started back up with your painting.
Yes. So when, I want to say it was like June of 2020. And that's when I started this Beauty and Bones series that you've obviously seen several of the images of. And I want to say that this last one that I painted last week was number 36. So 36 paintings in a couple of years.
Not bad.
Yeah, and I've sold almost all of them. They go pretty quick. That one that I just finished, I sold the very next morning.
I was going to say within the week, it was gone.
Yeah, it was within 24 hours, that one, for sure. So I actually have to go deliver it to the buyer tomorrow.
What would you call your style?
Oh, gosh. Kind of runs. People say it's very similar to like Day of the Dead, but it's not. It is similar because I use skeletons skeletons and skin. I mean, that's why it's called Beauty and Bones. But I don't know. To me, it's very like it could be pop art, it could be folk art. I think it kind of runs the gamut, abstract as well.
Yeah. So, I mean,
And then because I'm an illustrator, I will concept my paintings. Usually I illustrate them first. So that's why they kind of seem like illustrations when you look at them.
okay.
I will concept them first, and then I'll sketch them to canvas, and then I paint.
Okay. Well, that's cool. Where do you find your inspiration for some of this? Because you say it's kind of like the like Day of the Dead style, and it is just because of the skeletons. That's where it ends, I think.
Yes, it does. It does in there. Although I am fascinated by different, the way countries, different, I guess, different parts of the world will kind of celebrate death in different ways. And that kind of fascinates me. And it always has. But it just, I find it in tattoo art. I might be flipping through a vintage flash book that a tattoo artist friend gave me, and then something might pop in my head as far as designing. Or I travel all the time, and I like to visit cathedrals, so there might be some sort of skull or something that gives me some sort of inspiration when I'm walking through these cathedrals that are 1,000 years old.
They're nice, aren't they?
Yeah, there's something about them. I think because I've been in Italy, Spain, and France in the past year, and I think I've visited like 10 different cathedrals in that time. So I enjoy it.
Right on. Before you started putting paint to canvas, you said you were an illustrator, and I know you did a lot of work with like a lot of Dallas musicians for posters and flyers and so forth.
Yes, I did.
Is that how far back did that go? Did you just jump right into that? Were you a local fan and then just started like approaching them like, hey, can I design your flyer?
No, this is something that's just over the years. Obviously, because my ex plays in Reverend Horton Heat, I would do stuff for them or other bands that were friends of ours. That's really how it came about, where I would start doing like posters and flyers for the different bands. Same with like Trippy Daisy and the Polyphonic Spree. Those were all friends of mine. And they approached me, to create a poster for them for a particular event, and I would do it. So.
At the time you said, your ex-husband, you did a lot of work with his band. Was there ever a time when they said, hey, don't make the posters cooler than ours?
Oh, no. No, nothing like that.
Because the Reverend had some great posters.
It was something quick that I had to do, and I was just helping him out. So, as far as the stuff for Reverend Horton Heat goes.
Yeah. Is there a certain type of music you like the most? I mean, if you like a band, do you really get into that poster or that artwork?
Sometimes. I mean, it just depends on what kind of mood, because I listen to all kinds. I mean, I listen to old school punk rock to, I love anything from, obviously the 80s. So, everything from Echo the Bunnyman to, of course, Duran Duran. I like and the old school stuff like, Depeche Mode and New Order. I love all that. I've been listening to a lot of that lately because my youngest is really into that. And I really think it's like these shows like Stranger Things that have really turned all the high school kids onto this whole genre of music. And they love it. So.
I agree. Like I always said that music that came out in the 80s, 70s, 80s, like it was very organic. So it has that timeless feel. So I think any generation that's exposed to it is going to latch onto it.
Oh, yes. And then it seems to be the kids, especially the high school ones right now, are just really latched on to that whole genre of music. So I think that's great. But then I learned from them, too, because like my oldest that lives in New Orleans, he turned me on to this punk band called Pup. And they're from Canada, and they are so fun. And I think we've watched them live a couple of times. And then my youngest turned me on to a group called, well, it's a guy, two rappers, Joey Valance and Bray, and they and I've been listening to them on my bike rides because I take my bike out downtown almost every single day. But they sound just like the Beastie Boys.
Really? Oh, you know what? I think my son turned me on to that too.
It is so cool, and I have just been listening to them for the last few weeks, and they are fun to listen to. So
yeah, I think because that's how he got me to listen to, or he played me a song, and he goes,
"Yeah,
if you like the Beastie Boys, you're gonna love them."
Yeah, aren't they fun? They're fun. Yeah. Yeah, so that's kind of a new thing I've been listening to. But I'll listen to anything. So,
is there a favorite current band other than the two you mentioned? Like,
yeah, there's a local band from Dallas that I absolutely love. That's called Rose Garden Funeral Party. You might have seen them. They are so great.
They're really good, aren't they? You know,
right.
Leo.
And I will say that was my oldest. He turned me on to them too because he was friends with all of them in the band, and so we would go down. He would take me down to Three Links and we would watch them play. And oh my gosh, they're just so fun to watch live. So,
Leah was my first guest on this podcast.
Oh, she was?
First ever.
She's so great. I love her.
Yeah, she kind of carried the interview.
Right? Yeah. They're fun. I would say probably Pup is another one that I mentioned. That as I guess more of a current band that I really enjoy.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out.
And I've seen them. Yeah, they're fun. And they're punk rock. But they're really fun to watch live. And I think I've watched them twice now here in Dallas. Once was at Trees, and then I think they came through back in April. I took my youngest to the Granada show to see him.
Okay. While we're on the topic of music, live from the Astroturf, the Alice Cooper album. Yes. Can you talk about that?
I mean, I can talk a little bit about it. What had happened was I had designed a poster for an event, which was the showing of they were premiering Live from the Astroturf, the documentary. Mm-hmm. And it was for an event that was in New York City, and I designed a poster for that. And then, along the way, I guess, was it August? There was an event here in Dallas at the Kessler, and I hadn't seen any of the packaging or any of it. And so, of course, it was quite a surprise to me to see that it was my artwork on the cover because I hadn't been approached by that. But it's all sorted out now.
And you got the credit for the artwork.
Yeah, yes, I did. And the record label posted about it. And now I can say that that my artwork is on the cover of an Alice Cooper album. So.
Did that kind of did it make you mad, or were you kind of confused of like, hey, this is my art? I was
just confused and shocked, to be honest with you, because it was, I had the artist that had worked on the whole package was taking credit for it, which I thought was kind of crazy. And then also, the people that put it together, I know, and I was just really confused as to how it all happened, but I wasn't sure how I was going to handle the situation. And then the record label in Germany actually reached out to me, and they're like, we know this happened. We want to make it right. And that's where we went from there.
Yeah. What about the cat that was taking credit for it?
Courteous. What's that?
I said, what about the cat that was taking credit for it?
Right, I know. Well, it turns out, he did approach me later on, and he was told he could use the artwork, and he did apologize. He's like, I really shouldn't have worded it that way. I should have said I was just the art director and not that I designed the cover and all of that.
Well, that's cool. So, it was all rectified in the end.
It took him a while. Yeah, it took him a little while to reach out, but it was, he did reach out and tell me, the whole situation and how it came about. So,
is that something you'd like to get into in the future?
Yeah, I have done album art before. It's just been a while. I have done some packaging and stuff. But yeah, for sure. Like I was telling those guys in Germany, I would, if they have anything that comes up down the road, feel free to reach out to me.
So it might open some doors.
They kept telling me, they're like, well, we loved it. We loved your stuff. So obviously,
that's awesome. What advice would you give an aspiring artist? Like you said, well, you did it, back in the day, but then when, during the lockdown, you just kind of started it up again. What would you tell someone that's doing that, to kind of, a lot of people, they'll start it and, it's kind of like everything. You'll start something, you're like, I suck, but it could be really good, What would you tell someone with that?
Good. I did all kinds of different artwork before I kind of landed into, it's kind of like bands that, sometimes the musicians will be with different members or parts of different bands until they find that fit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, this particular style, just, I would say to anybody, just keep doing it. Art is subjective. It's I think not enough people try to go that creative route. And it's such, at least for me, it's like therapy. And so I would tell people to just keep making art. Just,
Yeah. I've heard the saying that fear is the biggest enemy of creativity.
Yes. And I think, for me, because I have to deal with, because I'm a freelancer and I have been for like 27 years. So I deal with clients, I deal with agencies, I deal with criticism, on not necessarily on my stuff, but you can't really be tied to your stuff when you're doing stuff for clients because it's really what they want,
Mm-hmm.
And if you can get beyond that barrier or beyond like just putting your stuff out there and, not just being too critical of yourself, I guess is the best way I can say. But that's easier said than done, right?
It is.
Because at least for me, my thoughts are like my worst enemy. So
yeah. Even with this, when I'm editing it, I'm like, ugh. Yeah. Like I told you, like Leah carried that first interview.
Oh.
Had she not been my first interview, I think I would have never got, like I'm almost at 100 episodes. I release one a week. But had she not been my first one, like she carried it and taught me in the process of how to talk to somebody.
Yes, how to be a good interviewer.
Yeah, she's got it together. I always tell people, I was like, at the time she was 23 and I'm like, I wish I had it together at 23 like she does.
She's I've thought that about her because she's very much an old soul too. Like she would think that she has like years and years and years and years of experience. Just even how she handles herself on stage. Is just incredible to watch.
She's definitely a rock star.
Yeah, she definitely is. So fun to watch. So.
What's your proudest moment?
Oh. With like this painting series?
With anything.
Oh gosh. Well, raising my kids probably. That's always good when you get one and he's a senior. Like, he'll be graduating from college in May, and he's also taking grad classes at Tulane next door at the same time. So yeah, things like that I'm really proud about. But personally, I think for me, I'm just always amazed that that I'm like, I just created this. It's something I created. Wow, like I created this last week, and somebody has already bought it, and they have it in their house. Like,
do you still get that feeling, like as soon as it sells, like, oh my God, somebody liked it.
Somebody loves it and is giving it a good home. That's still, even as many as I have sold in the past few years, it still amazes me that that people love it. And my paintings tend to, when you look at them, they look like they're part of a collective series. So that's kind of cool because I have repeat buyers that I have one guy that he actually was living in Seattle with his wife, and then they moved and bought a house in the hill country down in Blanco. But he's got like 5 or 6 of my paintings, just one collector. So that's pretty amazing.
Yeah. And when you, like you said, they seem like they're a series that's done unconsciously, right?
Yeah, it is. That's just my style. And, but galleries like that too. They want artists to have a collective kind of sense of if they're going to show a group of your stuff together, they want it to feel like it belongs together, I guess, if that makes sense. That's usually one thing that they say often. So,
do you have anything coming up?
I do. Right now, I have 2 pieces in Kettle Art Gallery, which is down in Deep Ellum on Main Street. And they have their holiday group show, which is called the Holiday Present Show. And I've got 2 pieces in that right now. And I believe the reception for that is in the afternoon on December 10th. So I'll be going up to the gallery for that. That's always nice,
Yeah.
To be included in with other artists, especially some big name local artists around here. That's a nice feeling. So.
Yeah, I bet it is. I think any type of creative who's asked to do something or included in something feels like not maybe validated, for lack of a better term, but feels accepted.
Yes.
Makes you feel kind of fuzzy.
Yeah. I was one thing that actually surprised myself was I started this in June of 2020, and by December of 2020, I did a solo show with like 15 pieces, and I still to this day I'm like, how did I do that? how did I paint 15 paintings in 6 months and do a solo show? But I did it.
Yeah.
So, and that was the first that one, and it was a one night kind of showing. People were still really concerned about going anywhere because of COVID, and it wasn't like a huge turnout, but there were several people that came, and that was when I sold my very first one of this whole series.
Yeah,
was that night in December in 2020. So.
That's an accomplishment. That many paintings in 6 months, and then
yes. And then to sell one, I was just blown away. And then I kept painting, and people kept buying them. So I guess that's another reason why I haven't done a ton of gallery shows too. Is because
you don't have the product.
I haven't. Yes, I'm painting them, and they're going so quick that I don't have enough for like a big show right now. I mean, I maybe have 1, 2. I'm looking around my studio right now because I'm sitting in my studio right now, and I maybe have like 7 or 8. But if I could get together a few months, I could definitely pull off another solo show if I had a few months to just paint.
Yeah, well, I have faith in you.
Yeah,
I'm going to move on.
It's not always the easiest when you're a single parent and you're also like juggling your work with clients and agencies, but
yeah, I get it.
I find the time to paint just because for me,
is it therapeutic for you?
Oh, for sure, yes.
I'm going to move on from the painting just for a sec. I almost unfollowed you on Facebook a while back because I'm like, this woman's killing me with this food she's posting.
Oh, was it food that I cooked, or was it food when I was traveling?
No, it's food that you cook.
Oh, okay,
like you're always posting something. I made this for the kid for lunch, and I'm like, lunch? Is that something that you find therapeutic too? That you love doing?
Oh my gosh, yes, I absolutely love cooking. In fact, like I cook most of the week for my kiddo and I, and then I usually only will try to go out to eat one night a week, and that's my Sunday thing, which I'm sure you see me post about.
Yeah.
Is I'll go eat somewhere by myself and, sit at a bar and have a martini and a nice meal somewhere. But no, I love cooking. And because I'm downtown, I've gotten to know a lot of the industry people that have worked down here, really all over, but a lot of the ones that work down here. And so I might make pulled pork tacos and wrap up a bunch of tacos and take them across the street to, the guys that are working at the Mitchell, or I might bake cookies and take them down to the staff at CB Provisions, or the guys that work at the Adolphus, or the Monarch behind me. Yeah, they all love my cookies and baking, and nobody complains about that.
Oh, man. Is that something you went to school for, or is it all self-taught?
Well, my mom cooked. And she taught me like the basic stuff, but of course, you can perfect that, or, I've taught myself a lot of stuff. Yeah. My mom did teach me how to do some things growing up, but yeah, a lot of it's all self-taught.
Okay. So you got your painting, your cooking,
yes.
and your travel.
Yeah.
What's your favorite?
Traveling. I love to travel. And I'm a budget traveler. So I find like I always find a really, really good deal. But no, that's my thing. I think because I'm so busy and I never get a chance to kind of stop and relax and just sit down. For me, being able to like just get away for a week and go somewhere I haven't been before, or go somewhere I have been before, and go back to my favorite places. It's just, I love it.
Right on. Yeah, I encourage everyone that I cross paths with to travel. Even like
Just
you said,
travel,
above budget
meet
travelers,
people.
you know?
Yeah. I have met so many people over the years that I have come back and like, had cocktails with in a whole other different country, and seen them again. It's just a good way to get to know different cultures and people and food. And a lot of times, as you know, as you follow me on Facebook, you'll see that my trips usually revolve around like eating my way across some city.
What else is there to do, right?
Yeah. So I like food and I like to travel. So.
Well, Jennifer, I really appreciate you taking the time. I know we've been messaging back and forth, trying to set this up. Where can they find you online? For
my artwork, they can find me on Instagram or Facebook. It's Jennifer Wallace Art. So at Jennifer Wallace Art. And if anyone wants to see my paintings and a gallery of my paintings, or buy prints, or even buy a painting, they can go to jenniferwallaceart.com.
All right. I have one more question, and this does revolve around food. The podcast is called Is Breakfast Included? If it was included, what would you have? What would I make, you think? Or yeah, what would you make? Probably my favorite thing, or my youngest favorite thing that I make him like at least once a weekend is a like bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich with like avocado on it. Nice. Just a really good thick cut bacon, cheddar, avocado, and toasted bread. That's the best cut, the thick cut bacon, right? Yes. And just have that sunny side up egg that, when you bite into it and all the yolk just runs out over to the rest of the sandwich. I'm starving now. Well, Jennifer, like I said, thank you for your time. I appreciate you doing this. And until next time, have a good night. You too. Bye-bye. Okay.
Right on, Jennifer Wallace. You can find out more about her art at jenniferwallaceart.com, or check out her Instagram at Jennifer Wallace Art. She has some really cool stuff. Hit her up if you want to buy some prints, some merch, or an actual art piece. Anyway, guys, I am done. Have a great day. I'll talk to you next week.